For over 600 years, one family shaped the map of Europe more than almost any other, not primarily through conquest, but through marriage, diplomacy, and patience. This is the story of the House of Habsburg and the vast multi-ethnic empire it eventually built, stretching from the Alps to the Balkans. The family's rise began modestly. In 1273, a relatively minor nobleman named Rudolf I was elected king of the Romans, giving the Habsburgs their first foothold in imperial politics. Over the following centuries, the family expanded its holdings gradually across Austria and the surrounding Alpine lands, building a solid regional base of power. But it was a shift in strategy under later generations that would truly transform the family's fortunes. A strategy built not on the battlefield, but on the marriage bed. A famous Latin phrase summed up the Habsburg approach perfectly. Let others wage war. You, happy Austria, marry. Through a remarkable series of calculated marriages, the family absorbed the crowns of Burgundy, Spain, Bohemia, and Hungary, one alliance at a time. By the reign of Charles V in the 1500s, the Habsburgs controlled territory so vast it was said the sun never set on it, stretching from Spain and the Netherlands to Austria and the new Spanish territories across the Atlantic. Eventually, the family split into two main branches, one ruling Spain and its overseas empire, the other governing Austria and Central Europe. It was this Austrian branch that would go on to shape the next several centuries of European history.
For centuries, the Austrian Habsburgs stood as the front-line defenders of Central Europe against Ottoman expansion. Vienna itself was besieged twice, in 1529 and again in 1683, and both times the city held, turning back Ottoman advances into the heart of the continent. By the mid-1700s, under Empress Maria Theresa, the Habsburg lands entered an age of sweeping internal reform. She modernized the administration, reorganized the tax system, and introduced one of Europe's first systems of compulsory public education. Remarkable achievements for a ruler who also managed to raise 16 children. But the old order the Habsburgs represented was shaken to its core by the French Revolution and the rise of Napoleon. In 1806, under pressure from Napoleon's conquests, the centuries-old Holy Roman Empire was formally dissolved, and the Habsburgs reorganized their remaining lands into a new, more modern Austrian Empire.
Rising nationalism among the empire's many ethnic groups eventually forced a major political compromise. In 1867, the Austrian Empire was reorganized into Austria-Hungary, a dual monarchy in which Austria and Hungary each governed their own internal affairs under a shared emperor and shared foreign and military policy. Emperor Franz Joseph, who reigned for an extraordinary 68 years, came to symbolize this era, often remembered, especially in Vienna, as a long, elegant, golden afternoon. The capital became one of Europe's great cultural capitals, filled with grand balls, coffeehouse intellectuals, and world-class music and art. Beneath the elegance, though, tension between the empire's many nationalities continued to simmer, waiting for a spark. That spark came in 1914, when the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne was assassinated during a visit to Sarajevo. The resulting crisis triggered the First World War, dragging the empire into a conflict it could not survive. 4 years of brutal fighting exhausted the multi-ethnic state beyond repair, and by 1918, Austria-Hungary collapsed entirely, splitting into several new independent nations across Central Europe. The House of Habsburg's political power ended after more than 600 years. But its legacy endures. In Vienna's grand palaces and concert halls, in the borders and cultures of Central Europe it helped shape, and in a modern, small, prosperous Austria that still carries the architectural and cultural imprint of an empire that once stretched across an entire continent.